Alright, so we're about 5 years into the current generation PlayStation 5's life cycle, and this is a little bit not like a normal typical video that we honestly do, so we decided to bring it up and to share with you guys about us going back to a OG PlayStation 4. So yeah, PlayStation 4, not the PlayStation 4 Pro, but more or less the original PlayStation 4. Now, PlayStation 4 has been out for going on 12 years, almost close to a decade and a half right now, and there have been multiple reports that this year is supposed to be the last year in which we receive games like Call of Duty and whatnot that have gotten cross-generation, PlayStation 4 versions that we still are technically getting. And then there's been a report from Sony that a lot of the support going into PlayStation 4 from Sony will be ending in 2026. And honestly, it's kind of like what brought us to want to go back to the original PlayStation 4 and basically experience like the original console that pretty much launched back in 2013 and basically playing at full HD instead of all this new 4K HDR fancy stuff that we got with the current PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and even PlayStation 5 Pro and PS4 Pro, where the base PS4, you just basically got a locked, solid 1080p resolution. And the PlayStation 4 is literally our favorite PlayStation console generation ever. Like, it's literally our favorite console ever. As you can see, we got a huge amount of hard copies of PlayStation 4 games, and the PlayStation 4 controller has always been my favorite PlayStation controller ever. Now, I actually kind of got a little bit adjusted to PlayStation 5 controllers. It took a little while, but at first, when we first got our PlayStation 5, within the first year and a half, the PlayStation 5 controllers just honestly did not feel as good as this bad boy. But over time, about a year and a half, going on 2 years later, after the PlayStation 5 first came out, then we actually started getting used to the PlayStation 5 controller, and then I was like, okay, alright, this is actually our second favorite PlayStation controller ever. But nothing will forever beat the PlayStation 4 controller. Now, I know this is a little bit bitten, but that's because this came with like a pre-owned original model PlayStation 4 that we bought off of eBay, so this is just the way that the controller was. But for the most part, it's still in pretty decent good condition, minus that bit on that analog stick, but other than that, it's still in pretty good condition. Now, two games that really do impress us with the PlayStation 4, like the original model PS4, like playing the native 1080p resolution, is these two games right here. The Last of Us Part 2, and especially Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, these games both hit solid 1080p and have really good performance on just the base PS4. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2, it also still looks very good on the base Xbox One. I was about to say Xbox Series S for a second there. But Red Dead Redemption 2 does, however, still look good on the base Xbox One, but you do lose a little bit of resolution and clarity when you go and you play this game on an Xbox One. However, once you play this on a PlayStation 4, even though you're not getting 4K or somewhat of an upscale 4K like you do on like systems like PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and even the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, a solid 1080p experience on this game, honestly, still looks really darn good. Like, I was impressed when I played this on our QD OLED Samsung TV. I was impressed with how good it looked. Also, The Last of Us Part 2, this game did, however, get a remaster. Now, there is reports that this is supposed to get a current gen upgrade of a remaster for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and it's rumored to have a quality and a performance mode, giving you like upscale 4K at 60 FPS, and then playing at native 4K with probably medium high textures at 30 FPS, but nothing has been confirmed from Rockstar as of yet. But this game does, however, have a PlayStation 5 remaster, and this came out in January of 2024. But the original version of this game on a base PS4, it really blew our minds with also how still incredible that this looks, even the quality of this game. Like, yes, you're going to get better, higher resolutions on the PS4 Pro, playing at 1440p, and then once you play this version on a PlayStation 5, you're going to get 60 FPS, and then on the remaster version, you basically got a variety of more options of like playing at quality mode, balance mode, in performance mode, or better yet, actually you mostly get a quality and a performance mode, but you can uncap the frame rate. Then you can also play The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on a PlayStation 5 Pro, and then that's honestly going to give you the best experience whatsoever with 4K visuals and a solid 60 FPS. So, PlayStation 4, honestly, like, the convenience of it, and with the way that Microsoft is doing with Xbox right now, I just honestly think, like Microsoft, with all of its choices that they've been making with the Xbox brand in the last few months, with high prices on the consoles, raising the prices twice, however, Game Pass prices going up, and then trying to raise the games up to $80, and then they had to backtrack with that. And honestly, just with way Xbox has been, it just kind of in a way makes the PlayStation 4 like nostalgia and just look like a better system, and it truthfully is a better system, not in terms of raw power by far, but in terms of like the games, the catalog, and the games that actually do still kind of perform really good on there. I mean, the PlayStation 4 is just still an amazing console in 2025, and if you was wondering if it was worth picking up a PlayStation 4, honestly, yes. If you want to get the best one, get the PlayStation 4 Pro. If you can find one for like $150 to $200, probably at most $250, snatch that bad boy up if you have a 4K television, because games are still going to look great on there. But if you come across like a PlayStation 4 for like $100 or $150, probably no more than like $175, honestly, at that point, then it'd be a little bit too much. But if you come across a PlayStation 4 for $175 or cheaper, which most of them you can find on eBay probably at least around $100, $150, it depending on which model and, you know, how good that the model is in, like, condition wise. Like if it's roughly still kind of almost brand new, then it's definitely would be worth $150 to $175. But also depending on the storage unit too, as both the original and slim models had both 500 gigs and 1 terabyte, although not a variety of the original models had a 1 terabyte except for a select few special limited editions. However, the slim model PlayStation 4 did, however, came with a 500 gig and as well as a 1 terabyte, letting you choose between if you want a 500 gig or if you want a 1 terabyte. And honestly, if I were you, I would try to find a slim with a 1 terabyte storage. So yeah, this is not really typical of what we usually do, but going back to the original PlayStation 4 systems and all that, dude, it's honestly still impressive. I just could not believe like how good, especially these two games honestly look, and these are definitely like later on in the PlayStation 4 generation. This game, however, has been reported from Digital Foundry when it first came out, although there have been some updates that have been tweaks with Red Dead Redemption 2, but as far as I know, this game still mostly plays at a mostly consistent 30 FPS, and maybe with times like you'll basically hit like 1 or 2 frames drops, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you'll probably have 1 or 2 frame drops here and there on Red Dead 2, but also that has been reported that even on a base PS4, this game runs consistently solid 30 FPS all the way through. And the PS4 Pro had a couple of some frame drops on this game on the PS4 Pro, but the base PS4, it's a consistent 30 FPS. So all of this new tech that we've been getting with like 4K, HDR and such like that, while the PS4 can actually play games in HDR just like the Xbox One S can, but more so, FPS, frame rate, extra, performance modes and such, letting you pick between the two options. Honestly, nothing could actually impress us even more than playing games like those on an OG PS4 on our 4K OLEDs. And dude, I cannot imagine with how good that the clarity still looked at 1080p Full HD on our OLEDs. Like, it was still mind-blowing. And right now, in our main bedroom, we have a Hisense mini LED TV that also still looks good, but it definitely didn't look as sharp at 1080p like our OLEDs did, like our QD OLED Samsung that we have in this room and our LG OLED that we have downstairs. Like, the Hisense did not look as sharp or as crisp as our OLEDs did playing on a regular PS4 at 1080p Full HD. And honestly, just going back and playing that, if we want to play the games with PS4 Pro enhancements, well, then that's just pretty much what the PlayStation 5 is for. But going back and playing the original, visuals, playing the original 2013 launch model PlayStation 4s, and just the way that the PlayStation 4 was built from Sony, it's still shockingly surprising with how good the games honestly still look at Full HD here in 2025, going on 12 years later since the PlayStation 4 launch. And honestly, playing The Last of Us Part 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2, honestly, it's just impressive. It's still impressive. The PlayStation 4 is still impressive in 2025, and if you was wondering if it was still worth picking up, if you haven't got one or you haven't had one for a long time because yours broke and you have a PS5, but you're just wondering if it's just worth it going and picking up another one, absolutely. Definitely pick up a PlayStation 4, because honestly, even if you are playing at 1080p, the quality of games on there is still mind-blowing good. And if you have an OLED TV or something like that, if you have an OLED laying around or an OLED that you currently play on, like whether if it's an LG or a Samsung or even a Sony, the games are definitely going to be stunning looking, even crisp and sharp. Even at 1080p resolution, they're going to look freaking stunning. So yeah, if you was wondering about picking up a PlayStation 4, definitely, because the PlayStation 4 is still worth it. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video of us basically talking about going back and playing on the original PlayStation 4 and being impressed by it. Let us know in the comment section down below of your thoughts if you're somebody that still plays your PlayStation 4 every so often, even with owning a PlayStation 5 or your PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever. Let us know in the comment section down below if you still on an occasionally still play your PlayStation 4, even having a PlayStation 5 or even a Xbox Series X, for an example. Just let us know if you still play your PS4, and if this helped you out deciding rather to not pick up one if you find one for a very good price, because honestly, they're definitely still worth it. And PlayStation 4 will forever always be our favorite PlayStation Sony console ever. So, tech and gaming reviews, rate, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.